Jessica Harmon was a client in our Families Together Building Solutions program. She worked with her Highfields counselor during the process of getting her children back home following an out-of-home placement. She completed the program and then was transitioned into our family maintenance program, where she learned and continued to prevent the reoccurrence of another out-of-home placement and how to keep her family together. Please help me welcome Jessica Harmon.
Hi, my name is Jessie, and I have had the fortunate pleasure to work with Rahedi and Kelly from Highfields. To say that my life has made a complete turnaround since then is an understatement. You see, since I was a teenager, I have always searched for male attention. It didn't matter if I was treated horribly or not. As long as I had a man by my side, I felt like I mattered. I needed that man to validate who I was as a woman. I needed to hear that I was beautiful and that I was needed for something. I have always gotten into relationships that my partner had a ton of issues to work on, anywhere from mental health issues to drug and drinking problems to stability issues. I somehow thought that if I loved them enough, that I could fix whatever they were struggling with. Despite my constant sacrifices in my own life for my partner, the relationship failed time and time again. This behavior led me down a very depressing and unfulfilling path. Along the way, not only have I been hurt, but so have my children. I hadn't realized how much they had been put through until it was too late. One of my daughters was removed from my care in July 2015, and then the other daughter was removed in the following October. Both were because of my careless and very selfish decisions revolving around a man. Rahedi came into my life the day my daughter was removed in October, and the day after I had found my mother-in-law passed away in the upstairs of my home. To say it was an emotional first meeting is an understatement. He was very professional and kept telling me he could come back another day. Rahedi learned how stubborn I was that day. I told him that I didn't want him to come back a different day. I wanted to push through with our meeting and get things started. I wanted to get the process rolling to get my girls back. Our second meeting was at Burger King, and I had found some books that had asked questions about yourself. I showed him that I had gotten them, and he started reading through one of them. He asked me if he could ask me some questions. I obliged, and he proceeded to ask me a few, and I answered them. That was the connection that was needed for me to open up to him. I didn't know just how much of an impact he would have on my life. I didn't know how life could possibly continue. I had lost the only thing that kept me going every day. I didn't realize that I had lost the most important piece of the puzzle long before any of this happened. I had lost myself, or rather, I had never found myself. I hadn't ever taken the time to put myself as a priority. Rahedi and I realized that this was a huge barrier for me and made that one of our main goals. I knew that in order for me, or for it to help me, I would need to be very open and honest with him. Even when I knew it was something he wasn't going to be happy to hear, I told him anyway, and then braced myself for his reaction. Instead of being harsh and critical of it, he gave me supportive advice and talked me through why my action was not a very good decision. On days when my mind was racing, or I was too emotional or worked up, or just ranting, which happened a lot, he would turn my focus to something else. One of the times I will probably never forget is when we met at Burger King, and I was really irritated because I could never enjoy the outside because I was always working or in a meeting of some sort. It was a gorgeous day outside, and I expressed to him that I just wanted to sit outside and let the sun beat down on my face. He looked at his watch and asked where a nice park was. I thought he was asking so he could take his children there or something. I told him about a nice park only a mile or two away. He said, "Let's go, right now. Come on, we don't have much time." So we went to this park, and he just let me sit on a bench for at least 10 minutes and just soak up the sun. At that time, that's exactly what I needed. I didn't need any advice or any guidance. I just needed to breathe for a minute and enjoy the sun. We went back to Burger King to finish up our meeting, and I was so relaxed and finally able to focus. Along the way, he always gave me encouragement and praise, and that is something I wasn't used to. I worked very hard at everything he gave me to work on, even when it was painful and I didn't want to. Without question, if he told me to do it, I did it. I knew that I needed to do what I could do. I knew I needed to do what I could to be a better me so I could be a better mom for my girls. They were my driving force to do my best. The day came that we had court, and I was awarded overnights, and I was so elated. Rahedi was so excited for me and gave me even more encouragement. It was that day that I realized just how much work I had done to reach that point. When our case closed, I was sad because he had been such a great support for me, but he assured me that He would be there if I needed to talk or when I had exciting news to tell him. A few months later is when I started the family maintenance program with Kelly. Ironically, it was the same week Lily was returned back to my care that Kelly came in our lives. It was nice to have some additional support when I was going through a huge change in life. She was there on my court date when I was officially awarded both girls to return home. Even though I had just met her the week prior, it meant a lot for me for her to be there. When we first met, I didn't have very much free time at all, and she was so accommodating to allow for our visits. She was able to spend time with me and my girls and see the bond that we have. One meeting, I had 4 of my daughters at the house, and Kelly was letting me use her laptop to apply for DHS assistance. She brought this neat little game with her that correlated M&Ms with feelings. It was really enlightening to see my kids engage in that game. Kelly and I only met for a short 2 months before my case was completely closed, but in that time, I really feel like she gave me the encouragement I needed to continue on the path that I had started. That path led me straight back to myself, and I was finally able to find my inner self that I didn't even know existed. I was able to realize that I do, in fact, deserve to be happy, and then instead of trying to fix everyone else, I need to focus on myself. I had always searched for the good in my partners and dismissed any negative. I learned that while still searching for the good, I need to be aware of the negative and know when to walk away or not to start the relationship in the first place. I could talk forever about how much I learned about myself, but the real huge step for me is to know who I am as an individual, a woman, and as a mother. The most important thing for me to keep remembering is that my children and myself come first, and as long as I remember that, everything will be fine. I will be forever grateful to Highfields for helping me see the true beauty within myself when everything around me was so dark and I couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.